Hello everyone, Trigger's the name, and this is my video game news cap for the week. So, a lot of things have been going on in the news lately. Some like really small things, like Epic Store buying a mall, Apple removing a lot of games from the Chinese market. That doesn't really mean that much. But one thing I do want to go into is a thing that's been going on for a very long time. Video games have had this huge rap for the longest time that video games cause violence. And I knew for a very long time, even when I was taking psychology in college, I knew that that was not true. Video games does not cause violence. There's a lot of other different factors that can cause violence, and a lot of different triggers can cause violence for different people depending on the situation. But video games really didn't really do that. In fact, they could be like reverse effects where it can actually calm people down, so that you can do reverse tendencies of violence. And there's been a lot of studies, a lot of things have been done to prove that fact that violence does not actually is caused by video games. Well, just recently, an actual study, a really good, really long study, actually just been performed not that long ago, a 10-year-long study to actually disprove the fact that video games cause violence. It's actually a really good one. It's actually really well done by a lot of the people that are involved. And I definitely recommend getting the reading in that. We need to, this has been going on for a while now, and there's apparently still some people out there that believes that violence can be caused by video games, which is not true. But now we're just gonna keep on getting more studies done like these to prove the fact that no, it does not cause it. And I really hope that we can finally disprove this notion that violence in video games is not going to attribute to in real life violence. You know, there's a lot of violence in video games, a lot of really nasty kind of games out there that can actually help attribute to a lot of violence, or may seem like it's violent, but nope. These studies show that no, it does not cause violence. It can cause a lot of things, and we should definitely address those kind of stuff. Maybe now we can stop. Please stop talking about violence in video games, and now let's talk about the gambling addictions that can happen from video games, because that actually is true. There's a lot of actual information that's actually out there right now to talk about the gambling addiction that could happen in video games. That can actually happen. Can we turn to our studies for the gambling addiction that's going on and stop talking about the violence in video games? That one is good. It's done. We don't have to worry about that study anymore. Let's talk about something else, something more important, and that is kids doing gambling addiction because of loot boxes and other stuff. Let's talk about that, please. Please, can we talk about that? The other thing I want to talk about is that's a continuation from the last one that we actually talked about, and that was Cyberpunk's lawsuit. Before, I wasn't really for sure that they were actually going to get a lawsuit. It looks like that was going to happen, but nothing has been set in stone. Well, guess what? Now it's set in stone. They are going to actually get a lawsuit sent to them. The investors and everyone else is actually going to sue CD Projekt Red for I guess false interpretation they thought they were lied to. And CD Projekt Red's notion back to them is saying that, well, you didn't really say what I was telling you that was a lie, so we're going to confront it and we're going to battle it back. So I don't know what's really going to go on with that kind of lawsuit. It seems like there's a lot of blank areas, and whenever there's a lot of blank areas in lawsuits, a lot of things can be interpreted differently, and a lot of gray areas can actually be filled in with a lot of really not true things. So I don't know much about lawsuits. I don't know how soon kind of works, but it seems like CD Projekt Red is going to battle up against the lawsuits and they're going to try and overcome it. You know, the investors are still making a lot of money from it. There's a lot of money that was made by Cyberpunk 2077. Even though it came out very buggy the way it did, and unfortunately it did actually have a lot of issues with it, including false advertisement, which comes to the promises that was made for the game that did not actually happen, I would say bribing the cops and having really good AI from far away and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things that was promised and didn't actually come out for it. But I don't think the investors should really go too ham on it. They made all the money that they wanted to do, and they should actually be pretty thankful for that. But I guess money rules everything, and they probably just want more. They thought they would get a lot more than what they did, and they just want to make more for it. So they're probably going to go after Cyberpunk Red because it is a buggy game, and they think that, hey, we can probably go and get some more money off of this. And hopefully Cyberpunk Red can come back from this and actually like defend themselves, because even though, yeah, they did mess up with that game, they definitely should like pay for that situation. They shouldn't be trying to fill up the pockets of people who don't deserve it. You know what I mean? Related to Cyberpunk, apparently they actually did just announce that there's actually going to be free DLC content for Cyberpunk early in 2021 this year. I don't know, like, I like free DLC content. It seems really cool, but also they kind of have to. Like, I don't think anyone, like, at all would be paying for DLC content for Cyberpunk. They would probably wait until the game's actually ready to be played and actually good, with all the promises that should be made on that game, before they want to put more money down on the DLC content. So yeah, fix the game first, make the game like not crash as much, not have as much bugs, and maybe add some of the cool features like having to deal with like the police officers and having a bounty rating where people actually will have to hunt you down and trying to kill you and kind of stuff like that. That'd be kind of cool if you can put features like that you're supposed to have. And then put off the DLC maybe later. I don't know. Unless they're going to try and use the DLC as the new, like, hey, look, new DLC. You can actually be hunted by bounty hunters. Which is kind of messed up because they said that in the beginning, that was going to be in the beginning of the game. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys are looking forward to the DLC content that CD Projekt Red is going to be releasing for Cyberpunk? Or are you kind of just like, just give me a good game? Like, do that first, and we'll talk about the DLC later. Come on, please. I want CD Projekt Red to do a really good job. They're such a great company. Why did they mess up? Oh well. Well, hopefully the DLC make it up for it. I don't know. And the last thing I wanted to wrap up was mostly the whole PS5 and Series X kind of situation that's going on. A lot of people have been asking me in my store that, like, hey, when are you going to be getting PS5 and Series X's? And to tell you the truth, I have no idea. I really don't know when we'll be getting more systems in. It seems like they're focusing more on online for obvious reasons. They're focusing a lot of the factories and a lot of like businesses and retail, especially from outside the United States, are trying to focus on selling to individual people instead of businesses and stocking those kind of stores, because it costs more to do that, especially during a pandemic where they're trying to focus on essential shipping instead of like individual shipping. So a lot of stores are not able to get a lot of the stocks because they don't technically need it. They want to prioritize a lot of the shipping to like essential places because we're in the middle of a freaking pandemic. Crazy, right? But because of that, we don't really know when we'll get more of the systems in, because they're not focusing on those kind of stuff. The only reason why we got as much as we did before, which was barely any, was because we were in the holiday season. And you know that markets need to thrive during the holiday season, because that's what makes the economy thrive. So now that everything's pretty much died over and we're in the month where literally nothing goes on, we're probably going to be seeing pretty much no stock of anything, which kind of sucks. So my guess, and this is something I'm going to guess out and throw out and think, and if I'm right, yay, I'm right, I called it. But if I'm wrong, then makes sense. You know, I'm kind of surprised I'll be right in this kind of sense. But my guess is March, probably near the end of March. That's my guess. We're probably going to see a nice flux of systems coming into, and that includes PS5, Series X's, and Series S's. And that's because hopefully the pandemic will calm down a little bit and won't be as crazy. And maybe they'll even lift some of the embargoes and taxations that's done on shipping things to the States, because the pandemic is not as bad. Again, don't know. We don't know if this pandemic is going to go on for the rest of the year and we're going to have more issues. We don't even know if it's going to be ending again tomorrow. We might even get PS5s in my store tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen in this kind of sense. Hopefully it gets fixed. I would really like it to be fixed because I'm kind of tired of dealing with this kind of stuff. But we will see. I'm hopefully it'll be March. You know, March is my guess. But again, for what has happened in 2020, I can't be for sure for anything nowadays. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that we're going to get PS5 and Series X's in stores again a lot sooner, or what? Do you think it's going to be another like year before we start seeing stock of those things? Be like casually able to walk into stores and be like, I'll just get a PS5 and, you know, a cup of coffee. And it's like, yeah, sure, you get a game for free. I don't know. What do you guys think? Alright, that's actually going to wrap it up for me for this week. Now, again, very short, not much is going on in the gaming news. The world's actually dealing with a lot more worse stuff at the moment with the whole election situation, which I'm not even going to touch there. I'm not even going to go talk about it at all. But I do want to mention that like there is still some cool stuff going on, you know, free DLC content, maybe some PS5s, Series X's coming out, hopefully soon. So, and we're getting a breakthrough in the studies of psychology into video games. So I wanted to touch up some really cool like moments and not like talk about like some of the sucky things that have been going on. And hopefully this news actually kind of brighten your day. It brightened my day when I heard about the psychology part, because I love psychology. But yeah, have you guys heard anything that's interesting that's going on in the news? Why not let me know in the comments below? I would actually appreciate it. I'll do some research for it and I'll come back to you guys later on. But until then, I hope you guys have yourself a nice day. Bye.